My mic isn't working. There we go. Good morning, everybody. He looks close. Thank you, Osnadian. I appreciate that. You're not wrong. Did you? No, I saw a few places. I'm still looking. Uh, we'll see. I'm gonna probably apply for a few this week. We'll see how it goes. Good morning. This is my first time live. Oh, what's up, dude? Welcome. Win Mansion. Not soon enough. All the places I'm looking at right now are hovels. Seb P, thank you so much for coming to Dillionaire, dude. After the stream, hit me up and I'll get you added to the Discord. Thank you. Appreciate the support, man.
No money sucks.
Time for weekly ASMR. The places weren't expensive enough for you. I mean, they were just like standard living arrangements. Quickly running a new villa. I wasn't in Philly. Corn trader. Do they all have bidets? Almost universally. They seem to be very popular. Cloud Ranch wants to know more about CS. There's nothing to say. I've said everything that I'm going to say on Computer Share. I will say that Charlie's vids is a crazy son of a bitch. And not in a good way. Not in the way that, like, Carl's a crazy son of a bitch. Like, in the bad way. Like, he's got a, psychological problem. What's up, Cool Daddy? Wait a few more months to move into Kenny's penthouse. Thanks, A-User. I appreciate that. That's what I needed. Was money. Nobody needs extra money to move to Philadelphia, man. That's not why people move there. You were supposed to come see your new room in my home yesterday. Why didn't you show up? You know why. I'm not. Let's start an electric bill GoFundMe for the new place. I'm actually I'm not so worried about where I'm gonna move. I'm more worried about like the logistics of moving there, right? Like, how the fuck am I supposed to move all my shit and be ready for like stream the next Monday? I have to have like everything's got to be set up and ready to go. I don't even know how that's gonna work. Pirate Angel, thank you so much for coming along, Johnson, man. I appreciate that. Give me one quick second. Sorry, guys. All right. Confirm it's missing. What's up, Lugs? Why do I have to move? Oh, because my current living situation is untenable. Stream from the Starbucks? Yeah, I don't know if you know anything about Starbucks upload speeds, but that's also not happening. Because they didn't have them trapped. If they rolled too early, they still could have covered. It's possible. I mean, ultimately, with this whole thing, we're only going to be able to tell once we see price action occur as expected, right? Gotta run. Don't bring yourself down the level of moving from New York City to Philly. Thanks, Salmonella. I won't. Don't worry. I'll never live in Philadelphia. I found a way to escape the house. I told my 4-year-old that I'm going to school today and learn the old McDonald's song. Thanks, Chicken Tender Daddy. I appreciate that. Next week, I'm meeting with the boss of a small fund, Euro, like 100 million assets under management. What would you want to know from such a guy? I don't know. I mean, I don't, I don't think they know anything more than we fucking do, right? I mean, they might have access to better data and like more focused research teams, but I don't think there's anything about this situation that they like a hedge fund would ultimately, especially just a random one, maybe one that's involved, but um I would probably ask about liquidity on block orders for GameStop, especially in the European markets. Um, that can be very telling. European doesn't allow unreported short positions, and so if the liquidity's gone over there, you can't buy GameStop. That's a good signal that something's going to happen here. It has been in the past. There's been a few times where liquidity in the EU markets like almost completely dried up, but it'll dry up there first before it dries up here. Yeah, the mold is becoming a bit overwhelming and uncontainable and unfixed. A few times you said the price reaches 10K, it will go to 100K. If it goes to 250, it'll go to 500, so on and so forth. Can you expand on that and explain what you mean? Because that ultimately means that the short position is just as like, so if we hit 10,000, that means the short position is just as big as we thought it was, right? That means there's still an extensive amount of it to cover. It means that the thesis is correct and that it can keep going up. And at each of those price points, it has the ability to reach the next one because the previous one has become true, right? So we know that they have to cover multiple order or like multiples of the float, right, in order to satisfy this massive short position. And so yeah, that would, I mean, that would just be confirmation that the things we thought were true. And so yeah, if it hits those numbers, it's going to hit the higher numbers that we expect. Not that there's a lot of math behind a $10 million floor, but you know, and then you have share lockup and things like that would increase the bid jumping. We have the bid ask spread, which is already super wide, which increases the volatility. So while the 10 million floor is possible, you know seeing those numbers at the lower range really implies that like these hedge funds are going to get liquidated. We're going to see the DTC start covering. So it lends credence to all the things that we have that are unconfirmed. Can you explain my volume hello today? I think I halted. It's like a halt. It'll be over soon. What's looking spicy to you this upcoming week? Dude, I don't even know. I got home last night at 5 a.m. I've got to do this stream, and then I've got to write the weekly DD. I've got to film the video for that. And then I have to do like my work over in the Dillionaires Club, which I've been basically neglectful of all weekend. So yeah, I've got a lot of shit to do, and it's gonna be like 2:30 p.m. by the time I even start diving into the rest of that, and so we'll see. But I mean, currently I'm still very focused on GameStop. Cat seems to be reaching interesting price points again. I'm thinking I might buy into that this week, but I need to do some analysis and see where it stands. I'm expecting continued correction in the market. So the SPY will be something I'll probably have some money in going forward. But I'll post all that in the Dillionaires Country Club later today. No, I didn't find a new place yet, J-Bet. B-Jets. What's looking spicy? The whole Evergrand thing is getting spicy. I don't think it's nearly as spicy as the media is spinning it up to be. I think there's a lot bigger fucking problems with the market than Evergrand defaulting on 300 billion in bonds. Like 300 billion is a lot of money, but that's like what Archegos was leveraged at, right? Like it's not the end all be all. And no, I don't think I think there's counterpoints to the Evergrande situation. I think money from U.S. Investors can, will start flowing out of China, and there's a lot of, speculative interest in China because of the long-term growth potential. And I think that money could start returning to the U.S., which could, have, the opposite effect, and probably far more money than $300 billion, right? But we are due for at least a strong correction, so I will be watching for that this week. What are your current thinking on last week, specifically the ramp never really disappearing? So a lot of the ramp was at 210. Between like 210, well, I guess like 200, 210, and 220. This was a big chunk of the gamma ramp. There was some interest at 205, but that's for like next week, and 207.50. But those are for next week. There was a lot of interest at 195. And so these ended up at various points in the money. Those contracts probably got sold. They were profitable. These really didn't, but they were also cheap. When the majority of these 220s came in, they weren't that expensive. You have to remember that, billions, probably like maybe $5 billion were made on the 824 run up. There was a decent amount of open interest there, and that got sold off and exercised. This week we also saw a lot of 170, 160s coming in, so these may get exercised. Now, someone pointed out to me that I hadn't really explained this to you guys, so I'll try to. You have a gamma ramp. And that is different from a gamma squeeze. I thought I'd explained this really early on, but not as many people were following me back then. So I'll do it again. Essentially, a gamma ramp is leading into the expiration date, right? You have these strikes and the price runs up them. As this price climbs, price action accelerates. And then you have the gamma squeeze. And what a gamma squeeze is when these options are exercised, they have T+2 to cover them, right? And that kind of usually happens the next week on like Monday, Tuesday. As these options are exercised, they need to then cover their gamma exposure, or GEX. And the covering of this gamma exposure can then, also drive the price up. So gamma ramps tend to lead to gamma squeezes because of, the way that works, because of the exercise contracts, then having to be satisfied the following week. And so since we were seeing those 160s and 170s come in on Friday, that's a pretty good indication that like some people were moving into larger positions. That's usually how like hedge funds will buy into a long position, if they intend to hold a long position. And so those were probably exercised. So we could see some price action from that occurring the next couple of days. We also have something that needs to happen with these future contracts, or something that needs to not happen either way for us to, confirm what's going on that front, right? Have you had a chance? Yeah, I checked out the Goldman Sachs futures theory. It's pretty speculative, and a bit of a reach in a lot of instances. But at the same time, I mean, uh, uh, it's a bit speculative. It's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting amount of like the data he found, and yeah, it makes sense. There's a logical conclusion to draw there that they would try to cover their asses before allowing this to happen. But ultimately, CME still has to satisfy whoever owns the contract, right? Because you got to remember there's two sides to every trade. So you can't just like hold off satisfying half of the trade in order to protect the other half. I don't even want to know how far behind on chat I am right now. Do you think they failed their role and we'll see action next week? Or did they somehow manage to cover? Well, either they failed their role and we'll see action next week. I mean, as far as we know so far, they've failed the role, right? Or it was completed successfully, somehow not disturbing the price of GameStop at all, right? Um, Either way, yeah, I expect to see some movement this week, or we don't, and that kind of confirms other things. So it's really just a point at which we're gonna figure something out, one way or the other. Jimmy had a heavy jump, 10-8. Is that Euro or is it October 8th? Is it August? Are you saying August 10th or October 8th? Average. Let me know. Was it on the threshold list last year before January? I thought it didn't go on the threshold list till like December. What's your opinion on conservative bull put spreads, especially on things that normally go up like the SPY? You can make a lot of money uh, selling puts on the SPY. If you can if you practice it a lot before you commit to it, because it can cost you a lot of money also. But there's decent profits to be made there. It's a little more risk adverse, but when the SPY corrects, I wouldn't do it now because it's not a very conservative play. Naxos, it's we've got a choppy market. It's risky. It's doing that's great when you've got a strong bull run and there's money to be made on speculative hedges against it. Why didn't you play the Long Johnson song? It's the jam. I totally forgot I even had it. Here. Oh. The opinion on this song is very split. Do you think DFV sold? No. There wasn't an exit. There was no good opportunity for him to sell. Do you think there's a chance that the short hedge funds will pull their long positions to try to expedite the market crash to drop GME price so they can get GME low enough to cover the future settlement? It's possible. I don't know how big the settlement on the futures is or how much that's going to cost them. But yeah, I mean, I feel like people have been pulling long positions from the SPY all week, a user. Like we've seen some pretty high volume big sell-offs on the SPY. Saw a couple on Apple this week. I mean, unusual for any of those to be sold in bulk. So it's possible they're already pulling those, and that could just be because of the instability in the market as well. It's hard to tie the two together. But I mean, if apes are holding, right, and they're selling shit, like the price of the stock isn't going to go down that much. We don't have enough liquidity really to tank GameStop. Like that liquidity needs to be generated, and the only way to do that is through more naked short positions, right? Which then have to be, satisfied in T+2, which is not beneficial for them because then we just bounce right back. And then the momentum of that bounce can cause us to reach even higher highs. It's not a good situation for them to be in. Should I edit the weekly TT video or nah? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll just live stream it this week, but I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think of that. I thought I could like kind of just go over the DD and then answer like 15 minutes worth of questions on it, which might like tone down the number of questions we get the next day, but maybe not. Maybe it would just increase them. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about that, but no, I don't need to edit that. I don't edit that ever. I just do it in one take. Should I? Probably. If you want to cut this short to take on your day, we get it. Take care of your health. Oh, no, I'm all right. I don't want to cut this short. This is actually nice because I had like a full day off yesterday. I mean, I was doing a lot of shit, but I was still not doing this shit. Do you have any new thoughts on CS? No. My opinion of it hasn't changed either way. I still think it's there presents a risk to holding your shares there in the event of a high volatility market situation, and I think that that's a risk that should be factored into any shares you decide to put in there. And for the shares that you do put in there, do not expect to be able to sell them in that event. But on the other side of that, there's a possibility of creating a squeeze in the FTD cycle by registering them. So good with the bad. What do you think with stocks like OPAD, TMC, IRNT? I mean, some of them seem like they have decent futures. They're probably a little short. Um, Wall Street Bets is pump and dumping them. So I think they're great plays to end up a bag holder on. I think IRNT played out that way. I'm not sure about OPAD or TMC. I wasn't really following those, but I mean, when you're trying to scalp a pump and dump, you're in a very risky situation, and you need to be a very experienced trader to make money on the back of that, or you need to be the person that initiated the pump and dump, right? Chair CEO and C-suite have as compensation just stock. Doesn't this mean a dividend will be coming sooner or later? I mean, I think they have base salaries. But it's possible. They don't they don't have any salaries whatsoever. I don't think that's accurate. They're not a lot, but they have salaries. YouTube money. Thanks, Mohammed. Are you still going over your theory today? I mean, I'm kind of done going over the theory. I feel like I've explained it in pretty great detail at this point. I mean, I don't edit it whether I live stream it or not, Santos. What price do you think the SQQ can reach if the market crashes? I mean, 300 times whatever its current price is. 300% of what, 300% of whatever its current price is. Is Moonwind your secret protege? No. Fidelity, BlackRock, Citadel flying to China to meet with CCP regulators and Evergrand. Something concerning to you about those American companies? I mean, they're thinking about pulling their money out of China. Right? So, like, I know BlackRock announced not that long ago that they intended to, like, start pulling money out of the U.S. because of instability, right? And then the Chinese market and so the only place to put that money is into China, really. And then the Chinese market started failing, and so now they have nowhere to put their money. For retail to lock up the float in CS, they need to buy $15 billion at least worth of shares. I don't think they need to lock up the float to create a pile up of FTDs. No more than like 20% of the shares of the float would probably need to be registered to create massive complications. So what happens if nothing by Wednesday? We move on. There's always something new. I mean, the stock market changes every day, right? So it's never going to be static. There's always something else to look for. There's always something else to dive into. The futures theory isn't dead just because that happens. It probably more than likely means that somehow they were able to satisfy their exposure there without buying any significant number of shares at market. But we'll have to wait for the next futures to confirm. I was hoping, obviously, that we'd be able to get data and confirm on this one, but that hasn't happened yet. But that doesn't necessarily mean we won't, MOAS between now and then. That's a whole nother story. Working on my scanner skills. I find good breakout candidates, but a significant percentage of those fail. Any suggestions how I might better differentiate the good from the bad? I mean, what do you mean by fail? Like the price action you expect is not occurring, or they don't have the volume to you know achieve the momentum you expect. You need to be a little more specific on why they're failing. Because if you're finding a good breakout candidate, it should be breaking out. They get paid a portion in base salary and they get paid bonuses and stocks. Okay, yeah, so they have salaries. Are you sure on that, Hodge? Okay, several people are saying that. That's probably accurate. I didn't really dig too deep into their compensation packages. There's only so much spectrum of all this shit that I can analyze at one time because it covers so many things. It covers a lot of things that are irrelevant to the stock, which is difficult. I've never played RDR2. Ty Daily 23. Thank you so much for coming along, Johnson, man. I appreciate that. My hope is that direct registration at 100% of the float will cause most to happen this week. That's wishful. It could happen, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Seems a strange thing to desire. It is. But I mean, for every market long, there's a market short, right? Like everyone, it's not unusual for people to want the market to crash. There's a few they could be using a user. There's like single stock futures. There's swaps. Probably one of those two, but it's hard to tell. I think the benefit would be to use the one that they can internalize the most. But I mean, yeah, we still don't know which specific like financial instrument they're using in the futures market, which actually is what makes it hard to determine when it's fully due. But since they're all due around the same date range, that helps. Mid-November to late December. No, I don't think so. No problem, long dancing. Did you ever use Glassdoor as part of your research analysis? No. You can, but a lot of those are just disgruntled people. It's hard to sift between, what's actually true and what's people that are just pissed off. In the event of a market crash, if long funds holding GME sold off, could those sales significantly depressurize MOAS, allowing short hedge funds to diminish their position by purchasing those shares? I mean, you got to remember that like short hedge funds are also long, and their margin requirements are going to be kicking in during a market crash as well. And so, like, you know, just because if people are selling off, and why sell off GameStop first if you're an institution, right? GameStop has, you know, negative beta. It's a better stock to hold during a market correction or a crash. Like, we've had corrections and we haven't seen GameStop being sold extensively, right? So, yeah, I think it'll be pretty stable. Also, you know, with the number of shares that retail owns, that can stabilize it as well. Evergrand executives being held hostage by protesters. China meltdown on Monday, maybe. I will be watching closely for signs of corrections in the US market. October 8th, 2020. Okay. There was a huge jump in price and volume. There was some speculation this might have been Jimmy being a threshold list from FTDs due to lack of September rollover. That's possible. That's 35 days out from the rollover date, right? But the thing about being placed on the threshold list is it's immediate. So if several transactions from the day before failed to settle, um, then you get placed on the threshold list. It doesn't take 30 days. Like, an event doesn't happen and 30 days later you get put on the threshold list. It's immediate, as far as I know. But there's a difference between being a bear and wanting the US to default on its debt. No? Maybe I'm being naive. I mean, I've expressed this before, but I really don't think it's possible for anything bad to happen to the US economy. Like, nothing truly bad. As they are essentially the economic powerhouse of the entire world. So if US goes bad, everything else crashes too, right? And, like, while you could lose faith in US markets, due to something like that, I still think it would keep chugging forward. It's not gonna kill it off. But no, I mean, bears love market crashes. They dream of the day that they can make, because it always bounces back, right? Decision not to roll futures indicate a potential liquidity and or capital issue. Yeah, it could. You don't. You said you don't think they could have changed from underlying purchase settlement terms to cash settlement terms in June. Can you share why you don't think this is likely? Because because I think the amount that they cover every time they roll is a fraction of the amount that the contracts hold. A user, because they would only be satisfied, like, that covering that we see into the rollover would only be satisfying a portion of the loss on the contract, right, before they roll it. Whereas the whole thing would obviously be a much greater amount of volume necessary. And so that's why I don't think they switched to cash terms, because I think they would have just covered if they thought they could. Is quarterly the only type of futures term, or could they have changed? I don't think it's one position being rolled forward, right? So, like, I don't think this is just like one position being moved from like Feb to Jan or March to July to September, right? To December. I don't think it's one. I think at the beginning of all this, they split the FTDs up across multiple quarters. So here, 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 right? So I think each one is of equal size. And then they roll those out ahead of the others, right? Kind of leapfrogging each other. If the US crashes, the rest of the world crashes harder than the US. Yeah. But it was quarterly type of futures terms could they have changed? If futures expiry theory is correct, we expect to see some kind of movement or closing with 190 million shares. Okay, so 190 million shares is the total volume present in these rollovers, right? Or, you know, average. It's an estimate at that, right? This is a loose figure. The amount of actual covering in this volume could be much less, right? It could be like 30 million shares. And then this is also, you know, the byproduct of FOMO, market maker activities, you know, exercising in the options chain, things like that. So, and, you know, that's still that constant retail buy and also institutions trading the run up, right? And so this volume doesn't necessarily represent what is in the futures contract. Although, something interesting that someone pointed out to me that I kind of didn't notice when it happened and then noticed later was that I had said that we needed like 190 million volume for this run up, and then like days later, Yahoo reported a float like 186 million higher than GME's actual float, which I thought was funny as hell, but I don't know if there's any correlation between those two things. Although coincidences don't happen, so I'm pretty jacked. Yeah, I mean, we can ultimately just bully other or start wars, and that'll, you know, fuel the economy. There's 100 ways to do it. How do we best check the threshold list? I think it's live via like NYSE or SEC. It's updated all the time. Just Google threshold securities list, and it should be like the top thing. Later, Scarn. Refresh us on the threshold list and how it affects the stock movement. It doesn't affect stock movement. It just means that the stock is failing to settle its trades, which means there's like a problem, like illiquidity or you know, criminal activity or naked shorting. Sell side also shorting and whatnot. Yeah. The most recent entry on the NYSE threshold list is was an IRNT on the threshold list? It was a threshold list. Reg show threshold list for Friday, September 17th is up. You can download it. So that can't be correct. Should be market close every day. How are you tracking options on the internet? If you can't tell us what you're using, do you have any suggestions for alternate sources? I was compiling some bookmarks. So optionstrat.com has some. I think it's free. Flow Algo is a good one. I can't remember if I've used this one or not. Maybe this week I'll check out Cheddar Flow because I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I've never used it myself. But that could be interesting as well. But I'm still, I mean, it takes me time to like get around to looking at them to see if they're any good and like verifying them. What was happening with the sudden large volume at market close on Friday? Let's find out. Um, 1.4 million traded on the last candle. Could have been options being exercised or, you know, market maker activity. It doesn't look like we had any significant volume after that, though. Yeah. Nothing too significant in aftermarket. So it was just uh that one candle. Which I don't think really really means anything. It's not significant enough, right? It's like and it looked, if I remember correctly, it was like a big buy and then it got shorted. RNC was on threshold Tuesday. Okay. How do you see the rest of the year playing out for GME if there isn't a spike in volume and a spike in volume and price this coming week? That'll be the next cycle, December. Well, we're in an interesting position overall on GameStop, right? And that, like, you know, we're significantly higher moving into this cycle than we've ever been post earnings, right? So, you know, if this was our post earnings dip last time, it's looking like this is our post earnings dip this time. Which, you know, presents the opportunity for the stock to climb higher before the next cycle occurs. And so, you know, out here in December, you know, we could be already at by then, especially with more and more computer shares or computer share registration. I mean, we may see like increases like up to like 225, maybe even like near 250 before the December's future rollover occurs. And then, you know, obviously if we're starting from that price point, like the potential for upward price movements going to be higher. We're also going to see, you know, continued illiquidity, a continued lowering or widening of the bid ask spread because people keep buying more. And that's, unless that changes somehow fundamentally, it only becomes more explosive as time goes on. Like the potential only increases. So if I thought this rollover had a really high probability of MOAS occurring, um, that would mean that the next one has an even higher probability. So if I, you know, just as an example, this isn't the exact figure, but if I thought it was like, you know, 60-70% on this run up, that would mean that the next one could be like, you know, 80%, 90% more likely. And then the one after that, even higher and higher until it eventually becomes a certainty. It's the ultimate catalyst. It just takes time. I'm not sure what T plus X significance would be for the threshold list. I'm not sure either. Are you checking options? Okay, I covered that. Did you see the news that Cookies is opening up a consumption lounge in California? You worked for them for a bit, right? I was a distributor for them. I didn't work for them. We worked with a lot of companies, but we were one of their distributors. That's interesting. I mean, they're growing. They're growing their. I still think they make more money off clothing than they do off marijuana, but maybe it's catching up. It's just good branding. People like it. What various subscriptions do you find beneficial to pay for, such as the WeBull order book? I mean, I only pay for the WeBull order book because of GameStop. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't. Um, it's paid scanners are worth their weight in gold. If you can find one that's worth using, which I've yet to in my current situation, but I'm looking into it. Options data can be okay. I mean, there's money to be made there. Um, mm, that's probably about it. I mean, you can get like paid charting if you want to. If you want to pay for like Trading View, I refuse, but I know a lot of people that do. That's probably about it. There's really good data that you can pay for, but it's expensive as fuck. So I'm not going to count that as part of your question because you're not going to spend $500,000 a year getting like accurate market data and like exchange data and stuff like that. Smocks box, 100K OI, 17th December 25p on the SPY. That's not that much. $25 puts on the SPY. It's like, how much are they? That could be like one person. Ugh, puts. I mean, they're like a fucking dollar a contract. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It's kind of irrelevant. Screenshot from SEC. Hold on. I don't have Discord open right now, so. Oh, hey, look at that. That's fun. When was that reported? September 14th. I wonder what they did with them all. I like this. This from the fails chart. Ah, it feels good to be right. Hold on. I'll paste. Can I do that? Nope. Son of a bitch. All right, I gotta download the image and then fucking such a pain in the ass. Yeah. I'll share it with you guys. For those of you that aren't in the, I mean, I'll probably have to share this on the. I'm gonna share this in. Can you a user? Can you go share that in the general chat also? For anybody who's not in the stream here. Well, look at that. It's some pretty fun stuff there. And this is on the 14th of September. What's the date for that? That's September 14th, right? Oh, that's the FTD data from the SEC. Facts, I retract. It's but back to the thing you were saying before we move on, Madoff's Bud Buddy. Um that's a volatility play. So if the market were to crash, the implied volatility would increase to the point where those would be significantly more than $1. Chris, 500K. I mean, it was like $100,000 position. Lots of people. Um, nice, Slizzard. Welcome. Chili Holden Pickle. Check out Power X Optimizer. I'll look at it. That's expensive. What is this? It's FTDs. It's a big, big, big fucking spike in FTDs. It's all coming together. When did those FTDs have to be covered? T+2. Big spike of FTDs. Knight who says niece try shorts. Was there SEC FTD report? Yeah. It was a big number. It's looks like 2.5 million. Is that correct? That is holy shit. That's big holy shit. I guess someone didn't roll their futures. I'm not even gonna write a fucking DD this week. I'm just gonna post a meme of a rocket ship. Nothing to see here. Yeah. No, not T plus 69 from 914. Man, I really wish we hadn't released, me and Dr. Gingerballs hadn't released the T plus 69 DD sometimes, because I think, and not that people are stupid, it's just convoluted as hell. And I think people just don't fucking get it at all. Like, they were like, this sounds bullish, and they upvoted it, but they did not understand how it worked. I am not seeing the same thing on the FTD website. Or you just follow the link he's got there? Just like type it out. Can you share the link? I don't know. Unless they failed to cover them. Market makers have longer on fails. It depends on the source of the fail. Like if it failed from an ETF, there's more time. T plus 6. There's T plus 3 in certain cases. Hey, user, post the link, please. And Dillionaire's General. So people are saying they're not seeing the same information. You have to drag to Zoom. Okay, I'm just gonna open it on stream. Hold on. How the hell do you drag this thing? Oh, there we go. I'm not replicating that. I had to pinch it with touchscreen on my laptop. September isn't showing anymore? What the fuck? Okay. So the majority of DD on Reddit works, or if you understand it. September 21st. What the fuck? Well, that's fun, right? So maybe that's what that massive spike we saw was. End of day volume on the 17th. They removed it. I'd be surprised. This is 2020. It says September 14, September 21. Are you looking at the wrong year? Why does it? Oh, it's September 21st, 2020. God damn it, A user. You got us all fucking jacked up. I thought it was the 14th of September 21 based on the screenshot. I'm not gonna ban him. It's fine. It's good. Everyone needs to get their tits jacked up once in a while. God, you guys turn on each other at the drop of a dime. It's ridiculous. I want to look into trying to protect a dip in my 401k in case the market does crash. And the only thing Fidelity was suggesting was stable fund that's tied to T-bills. Have any better suggestions? Um, you could buy like like a long short position on the SPY, or you could hedge with like a short ETF. I don't know if you're using funds from your 401k to protect your 401k, that could be more difficult. You probably, yeah, something tied to T-bills might not even be the worst. As long as it's short. I think there's short mutual funds that you can participate in. PRTY Sun as a hedge. Maybe we'll see that huge FTD amount on September 21st of this year. It's possible, which would mean that this cycle would happen sooner. So we're just like hurtling towards another January. That would explain, I mean, that could explain some of the action that occurred in January, right? As that, if they had failed the December futures rollover, maybe that was the action we saw in January, because the action in January doesn't really correlate to anything else, right? It's not part of the future cycle. It's not, it just came kind of out of nowhere. I mean, there was the gamma ramp and ultimately the gamma squeeze that triggered it, but it wasn't tied into any of the cycle. So maybe that's why we saw that. Maybe that's what caused that anomaly. Huh. Interesting. What was December's rollover date? I would tell you more about hedging your 401k, but I don't have one, and I don't know that much about them. Could there be a 12-month cycle? 17th of December? That was the roll date? What was the expiration date, Saber? If you have that open right now. This has stopped being a members only stream and just becoming a normal stream. Roll was 1210. No, I don't need the roll. I need the expiration. Oh, the expiration was the 17th. Interesting. So we go back to that. December. Oh, this is fucking Apple. Oh, that was Jimmy. December. Oh, sorry. I don't have that open for you guys. So on December 16th, we see the FTDs fall off completely. And then on the 17th, they spike back up again. If we move forward. And then they spiked again on the 25th. 25th. That's interesting. So what happened on the 17th and 18th? '17th? Oh, we ran up a little bit. Huh. So maybe we'll see that. We will see an FTD spike. It looks like Monday, if that's the case. Drop of FTD? Huh. Expiration 12/18. Maybe they covered that one. Hardest spike was actually back here in October. That spiked to 300,000. Spiked on December 2nd. There was a spike in FTDs on the 17th. But the last reported date currently is the 30th. So maybe they rolled that one. What's 35 days from that day? Hold on. Gotta do that right now. I wonder if that weird outstanding shares glitch we saw had something to do with the quarterly futures spilling out. It's possible. It was interesting that, like, the projection for volume was around like 190 million, and then Yahoo, like a few days later, reported 186 million additional shares. What was the cycle after the double down on shorts after RC button, causing December run up into January? Yeah. But it also falls in line with the futures expiry. When was RC's December buy? I'm not going to get into this right now. I'll do this later. Yeah, I think it might have been. I can count it. I mean, yeah, that's T plus 35 from the 18th is like the day this began. Like really took off. I have to write DD on shit. God damn it. If I don't write it, someone's gonna tell Creand, so. Interesting. January 22nd was a Friday. Yep. But where does that put us now? Hold on. October 22nd? Hmm. Still expecting a run up on Tuesday, Wednesday this week? Yeah. I still expect something to happen. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It could be any of the 3 days. The holidays don't matter. It's 35 calendar days. What's up, Ollie? January 22nd. Yeah, I know. January 22nd is 35 days from December 18th. Thanks for answering the Tuesday, Wednesday question. Based on what you're still on what are you still expecting the run up? If I understand correctly, the shorties must have already done something with their futures, right? No. Settlement can still occur out till Wednesday, depending on which instrument specifically they're using. So I'm still going to be actively watching it until that point for some sort of action to occur either on the short hedge fund side or whoever's holding the future contracts, and possibly CME group. So it seems like we're looking at here is a repeat of the price action cycle from 1218 to 20 to 125.21 may play out over the next 5 to 6 weeks. It's, yeah, possible. 1218 to 122. Dunkston. Do you figure out if it was? Nope. I still cannot find any information on if T+2 occurs Tuesday or Wednesday because of the futures market hours. If the rollover doesn't, there's no rollover anymore. The time for a rollover is done. So either they rolled or they haven't. And that's what we're waiting to find out in the next 3 days. Dunston. Since CME is stuck holding the bag, no, it's because there's a counterparty to the trade, right? No one's gonna give them time. There's somebody else is gonna demand that the satisfaction of the contract, and CME will, without hesitation, satisfy it if that's the case. If they haven't, will we see a large spike in FTDs? Yeah, but we won't see it reported until the 15th of next month. No, I'm not actually in a hot tub. It's a misnomer. Oh, careful talking about any of this stuff in the non-members chat for today, just until I write a DD on it, because otherwise this is gonna spread like wildfire all over Reddit, and it'll probably be incorrect. What was the fails on the 22nd? That's interesting too. January 25th, 3rd, 4th. There's no market on the 22nd. Wait, hold on. Second. The fails are way down. And then they spiked again on the 25th. 22nd, 25th is how many trading days? T+3. So that's market maker exemption. Oh, this is very interesting. Okay, I'll write up a thing on this. This actually is probably relevant. Seriously? Get the fuck out of here. Bastard. Yeah. C+42 is December expiry to January 29th. Splody. Yeah. Plus 69 was my birthday. On 8/31, the CFT granted a request for emergency relief for bank swap dealers to not report swaps until 2023. Do you think this is relevant? It could be. If someone doesn't want to get caught doing all of this. As like, the next quarter's reports would show the action pretty obviously. But it's just a reg show reporting delay, right? A user, so it's just it'll still have to be reported. Thanks, Dan the Garbage. It's not a problem. Do not feel bad about that at all. I just forgot I had the song. I still have to hook that up to the Streamlabs so it just plays automatically. Start experiencing losses on the futures, had to start paying on the losses. If that's the case, it has gotten exponentially worse. Yes. Maybe this is why the longs made sure that the shorties couldn't close their contract. It could be. I mean, yeah, there's a strategy there. But those people would have to be long GameStop, right? So we're talking like who's actually like really long GameStop besides like Rentec? That's not, involved with ETFs. State Street? No, because that's ETF holdings also. What did you do? Given you now need to write a DD, don't worry about Pickle's picks. We'll be fine. Well, there's some things that I wanted to go over for Pickle's picks this week. I'll just include it as part of my like weekly DD. Did you see the DD about Moas being on around Halloween? The dates we're talking about here are similar, but his seem wrong. If he's Halloween, that doesn't seem right. All right now. Weird. Maybe November 16th. If that was the case. I have to look back at some things because there's a lot of potential for this to be wrong until I confirm some stuff. But maybe I can get some guys working on it today. C plus 35 on the futures. That still wouldn't be right. That still wouldn't be Halloween. If it's from like date of expiration, 35 days is the 22nd of October. What's up, Melly Duck? Moving crew drone footage on Citadel. Oh, I mean, they're just moving to their New York offices. I don't think that's a very big. That's been like something they've had in the works for a long time. You want me to go look at their New York offices? Say hi to Kenny on Monday morning. Are you moving out of NYC? I don't know yet. I saw a bunch of places here over the weekend, so Chicago sounds sophisticated. Give him a welcome to the neighborhood jar of mayo. You're moving soon. They're moving soon. Coincidence? I mean, they're moving right now. I'm moving at some point. I'm also probably moving to the place that I already am. You gonna move to the new Citadel Tower? If I just move in the floor below them and stream this shit all day, that'd be funny. I don't think I can afford office space in that building. It's pricey. Someone sent me a link for like available space there over the weekend already. They have like a bunch of offices on like the 23rd floor for rent. I thought it would be fitting to stream from the same building that Kenny's in all day. Maybe they're coming to get me like Charlie. I didn't go to Philly. Your trades would execute so quickly. I know. Spending money on a move now is pretty dumb considering they're about to get liquidated. By a Winnebago. You can't that building's in like Midtown. You can't park anywhere near there. You should start a stream doing flight simulators mimicking Kenny's plane. Oh, Jesus. You can't fly drones in New York. It's illegal. That's why they're moving here. To stop the drones. Kenny hasn't been able to walk around in his office naked for months. It was honestly a better reason than some of the ones I've heard. What you like best about Kensington, Philadelphia? Yeah, of course, Matthew Hodge. That's not the only thing I would do to the creeper drone, but yeah, I would wave. Most plausible theory yet. Oh man. All right, do we have any actual questions, or are we just going to talk about drone footage? I'm okay with either one. Would you move anywhere with a real grass lawn? I'm allergic to grass, Dr. K, so I have mixed feelings on that. Especially when they mow it. It's not a good day for me. I've mostly lived in places that are devoid of grass, like Southern California and New York. I'm not in Philly. I will never be in Philly, except to buy food and then leave Philly, which was a mistake last time because the food I got was terrible. Canned mushrooms, fucking savages. Is there anything you're looking forward to this week? Yeah, market crashes and wide scale liquidation, or just sideways chop and hanging out with you guys. Have you talked about the 5-to-1 Burry tweet? No, because I haven't seen it. Oh, Cassandra, what are you up to nowadays? I wish he'd just decide if he's gonna fucking delete his Twitter account or not. Parabolas don't resolve sideways. Is not wrong. Mojo Rising. During MOS, you can ask people to slap you around to make sure you aren't dreaming. If MOS is not coming this week, what are your thoughts on purchasing options, buying weeklies and rolling, or purchasing monthlies? I'm going to see what happens with the options I have in place right now. The size of the position I had got deflated on that roll. So I'm down at I think just over 40 contracts now. So about half of what I had going into this week. But we'll see. I'm looking to close those out pretty early in the week. Probably if I don't see anything by Wednesday afternoon, I'm gonna shut all that down and then buy shit further out, maybe November, December. But I won't buy those for a while. I'll wait. I'm not gonna pay for the theta in between now and then. That's on Reddit saying dark pool trading is decreasing for GME. So's volume. Can we talk about Virtu closing all GME positions? What positions did Virtu have? I don't think they had any. I don't think they had a big position in GameStop. Imagine how fast FTDs would be if you were a floor below them. Why do people dismiss the current thesis? It hasn't been exhausted. It will be exhausted on Wednesday. I don't know. Cracked ass cracker. I don't think anybody understands what the fuck I'm talking about most of the time, which leads more and more to me thinking that this whole thing's just a psychotic episode. Because I feel like I've said 1,000 times this week that I'm looking at Wednesday, and then it's just I guess it's because there's a variable involved, and that's really just fucking people's heads up. What are your opinions on Halloween Town movies? Also, Burry cracks me up. He's like a doomer. Because he makes money off being a Debbie Downer corn trader. That's his deal. So I go with market crash. If SS, I think SS thinks market crash equals good because of negative beta. They do. Well, a majority of people do. But is it more realistic to think? Yeah, we could absolutely get dragged down first. I've spoken on this in my DDs several times. Atron. Yeah, it's we'll definitely dip if the crash happens before MOAS or a crash or a correction. Could you please leave Ko-Fi on during MOAS so we can tell you how much? I mean, the only way for me to stop Ko-Fi would be to um like like delete the account. I think I'm not sure. I have to look into that. Of course, Ko-Fi is going to be up. How else are people going to become uh pontiffs of VWAP? What's your favorite flavor of psychotic medicine? Flintstones vitamin, orange. Second question, all hail the meteor? What? Is there a meteor that's gonna hit Earth today too? Is this just the end of times? Yeah, I don't track dark pool trading because no one understands like the purpose of dark pools and how internalized orders still print to the market, but uh, it's a mechanic I'm not super concerned with, Hacksaw. Oh yeah, we'll absolutely use them as a scapegoat because that makes us look good and them bad, right? The US v China is just like any other hedge fund trying to cannibalize another hedge fund. We just want to buy their shit at a discount. If you feel so inclined, check out the huge inverse head and shoulders on PRTY. Party? Party City? Party City is about to fucking rip. Oh, that looks sexy as hell. Interesting. I mean, by rip, I mean go up $3, but it still looks real nice. What's the fucking range on this? God, this stock sucks. I don't know. Maybe it's kind of done with its movement. Or new highs. What was the highest? How long ago is this? It's like 2017. Jesus, this is not a profitable company. How much profit is there on balloons? Yeah, it could go up. It looks good right now on the intraday. It looks like it's gonna run. Not bad. Um, I like it. The price hits 10 million. There will be many positives. Will it tell you who the first is? It will. I think. I don't know. No one's ever become one. So Supreme and plain old entry. There's no entry level pontiff. It is only Supreme. Helium shortage could lead to a squeeze. Helium is the pain in the ass to get. Aren't there other gases that are lighter than oxygen? No. We'll just start using hydrogen for our fucking birthday balloons. Make sure your party goes out with a bang. Hydrogen balloons are best for kids' parties. Yes. Smokey the Bear disapproves of your message. You just keep the balloons away from the birthday cake. How bullish are we for this week? We're pretty bullish. Mohidala. I'm interested in what's going to happen this week. I mean, I have a lot of money invested in it right now. $9.24 SPY puts or nah? That's awfully close. I mean, you could. Usually, like a crash takes time. You expect them to try to short attack us on Monday if the futures do need covering? I mean, if they're going to try to short and then cover, they're still, they still, I don't think have that many available shares to short. So if we have volume, it's kind of pointless to try to short it. And generally on days when they're covering, we don't see a lot of short action. It's one of the other ways to tell that they're covering or trying to cover is that they'll stop buying like in the money puts. They won't be borrowing any shares. Might be relevant to the DD you're playing today. What is? Did I miss your? Hold on. What is Dillerson? You're planning on playing the market crash? If yes, I mean I have a position that I've had for a couple months now that's just short the market. I have puts on TLT, I have calls on SPXS and SQQQ, and I have puts on the SPY. And the reason you divide it up like that and use multiple multiple different tickers is that it provides more like you have a better chance of not running into liquidity issues. Can we chip in to get Biter a membership? No, none of the mods have. Secure's never been in one of these either. Like the mods that aren't members. I can't like make people members. It's annoying. Last week you said the short hedge fund stopped trying to suppress the price. The only shorting was MMs. You agreed and acted like you had more to say about it. Anything you want to share? No. Anything you want to share? It's 2 plus 2. I don't know. Exception, threshold list, and C plus 35. I talked about that. Dillerson. It might be. I'm gonna have to do some more research on it, but there's something to that, I think. I'll try to put something in my weekly today about it after the stream. I'm gonna start writing that up. You can let them into the Dillionaire channels manually. I think mods are allowed in Dillionaires. I know Zakure's in there, right? Yeah, absolutely, Max. Do long puts with tons of theta move a lot slower than ones that are short? No. They move at the same speed, Atron. Do you think that T plus 2 from today, the Pi-Fi channel, will reach 1,000,000 views? I think I have over 1,000,000 views on the channel. Or are you just talking about like the stream will hit 1,000,000 viewers? I highly doubt it. But theta decay accelerates as it approaches expiry, though, right? Yes. So technically, like a long put would move faster, not slower, though. And not really faster. It'd just be that like theta wouldn't tick as quickly on it, so it would stay valuable, whereas the weekly would decline in value much faster. Oh, okay, Winter. I didn't know Biter wasn't in there. I'll add Biter to there. Are you using VWAP for analysis? I mean, I use VWAP intraday. Done. EMA is similar, but I use VWAP as like a day trading signal, not. I don't use it for like long term analysis unless you're talking about like weighted VWAP, which is different. Oh really? Only 970,600. Are you sure? I feel like that can't be correct. I'm gonna check. Oh damn it! It's 986,354, but yeah, still not 1,000,000. Close. It's a weird metric. I don't really pay attention to it. Yeah, you could give Biter a prepaid Visa card if you want to. Angel Fire. Get in touch with them. It's fun for all the mods to cover their memberships. I mean, I don't really need mods in the memberships thing. I thought they had access to. I mean, Hands a member. But I thought like Grizz and Biter and Zakir all had access to the Dillionaires Club. I guess not. I'll fix that though. How do you think I would push the price? I have no idea. Protege said. There's no way to figure that out. 2 million is the catalyst we're waiting for. So my T plus 2 to a million TT might turn out to be correct. How high can we trade sideways? What do you mean, what moon? Was Craig's ban permanent? I have no idea. I haven't been able to address that this weekend. Since Stream once you're going to diversify your money into different currencies. Why is that? Can Fidelity do that for you? I mean, you could just, yeah. It's a good hedge against fluctuation in major currencies. Forex not my specialty, but there's some hedges you can do if all your it more has to do with when you're like super liquid and you don't have any assets. Yeah, it's a relic from before I had subscriptions. Winter. What's for lunch, and how do we prevent you from not eating for 24 hours? That's not happening. Any major currencies you would avoid? China's? I'd probably just be in like the dollar, the euro, and the pound. Maybe yen, but I don't think so. And it would just be like a percentage of my holdings in those currencies, right? Like not a large amount. I have no idea. Mahadala. Maybe it'll be positive. Yeah, not really interested in Australian or Canadian dollars. Also, just like Schmeckles. All right, guys. Anybody have any last minute questions? I know we dicked around a lot today. So run to the bands, not just the signal line. That's fair. I mean, but based on the signal line, you can see where the bands are, right? African infrastructure money they put into Africa. Yeah, but I don't think like it definitely will. Yeah, Skarn. Yeah, no problem. Any quick last minute pickle picks? I think I went over the things I'm looking at. Party City looks kind of interesting for this week. I might look into that a little more. Because like tons and dinars. Could this keep going sideways at 300? Yeah. It's more difficult for them, but it could. Between GME and other trades until MOAS. I mean, right now I have like, oh, let's see, probably about 20% of my capital outside of GameStop for other plays. That number's gone up recently. It was only like 3%. But after like Tesla and AMD and all that stuff, I had more to play around with. A lot of that got thrown back into GameStop for me to exercise my my options. Yeah, cat. I'll go over cat on the thing today. But I need to look into some technical stuff on it. And the time frames. So I gotta do some research into like what's going on with the bill. Thanks. I appreciate that, heebie-jeebies. Any interest in shorting any of the ETFs in the Chinese markets? Maybe. I'll look into some of them. There might be a few that present good opportunity. Baba's probably going to be a good one, as a lot of the Chinese market value is carried there. And it's already not doing great. Looks like Spire reported a $1.43 dividend on Friday. Interesting. I wonder if that had to do with the shift to minis futures. Thank you so much, Haxa. I appreciate that. That could also be a bad sign, a user. IMG, Tencent, Baba, et al. Are all tied together due to collective finance. Yeah. I'm using EMA as a confirmation signal for Hank and Ashi reversals. Stop playing candlesticks, Don. You'll lose a bunch of money. They're not good. Candlestick like pattern analysis is garbage. It's like, especially on intraday. All right. I will see you guys all bright and early tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Thank you all so much for the support and for tuning in today. I appreciate it. Have a good one, guys. You got it, Wicked. Who licked my dumpling? Thank you guys. Not thank me. No problem. Later.